What's going on, guys? As you can see behind me, I have the Tahoe in the garage. This started out as some basic maintenance that I was about to do, and then I realized there's another part that I got to fix. And I wasn't going to shoot a video, but I didn't know maybe some of y'all have come across this, and you might need help with it as well. The motor in the truck isn't that old, but it looks as though maybe the part wasn't put in correct, so it's caused a little bit of an issue. So I'm gonna crawl underneath. I'm gonna take you guys with me and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, guys, we're underneath now. So what we have, I've wiped it up a little bit. I was just gonna be changing the oil in the truck. However, I noticed under here when I shine the light on it, there's a ton a lot of oil residue, and it's running down onto these little bushings. It looks as though let me see, I don't want to get in front of the light, but that is your oil level sensor. And I believe from the looks of it, the O-ring has gone out. So what I've done is I hopped on Rock Auto and I purchased us a new one, and I'm going to be changing that out. It's a quick fix, but I do have to drain all the oil first, and then we can pop that out. Of course, get the electrical connection off and stuff. I do want to clean that up. It's quite a mess. As you can see, there's a lot of grime on this plate. I'm gonna try to clean it up. This little bushing right here, I've wiped it off a few times now, but it was coated in oil, and when I took the bolt out from the bottom side, it looked like I was draining oil because of how much oil was pulled up. I guess above it, it's probably dripping down now. But I'm gonna clean this up and then set it off to the side while we go finish cleaning up underneath before I change the oil. All right, I had to give y'all an after shot. Me cleaning it up, because man, was it covered in oily dirt junk, but nothing a little purple power won't clean up. So now that we got this all shined up, we're going back to cleaning. Yours can be more difficult than mine. It may not, but what you want is you want a 90 or a hook pick, and you can feel around up on top up here. There's a little divot, and I'll show you on the new one and when I get this one out. But you want to take your hook and put it right in here, just like so, and lift, and you can pop it out without, I don't have to pull. Some you might have to pull, but you just gotta take it in there, hook, and push like that, and it'll pop out just like this. And there is your electrical connection disconnected. We're gonna tuck it up there out the way so that we can completely access this. You might have to buy a socket for this. I actually had to as well. This is a 1 1/8 socket that goes over this, so just keep that in mind. You might have one laying around, but I did not. Just in case anybody wants it, I went ahead and I bought a new drain plug seal for mine because I'm doing the oil change, and the old one looked a little rough the last time I did it, so I made sure to get a new one this time. Even though the old one was holding up, I did just have to pry it off with a pick. So, you know, it's kind of borderline. It could have been failing, could have not. But these are inexpensive and necessary when you're doing maintenance. You want to have a good seal. But this is a Felpro, of course. Good name brand seal. My plug is just a standard plug. There's multiple different plugs you can buy from like Rock Auto and stuff, but I find the standard plug is always the best, the one that comes with the truck. Some of the ones that you might get, the threads might not line up right, or it might not. I just definitely just stick with this. Don't worry about getting a new one. And if you do need to get a new one, buy an OEM. Don't buy one of those off-brand or a cheaper model, or maybe it could be a name brand but it's not OEM. Just buy an OEM. I wanted to show you guys before I crawled underneath what the oil level sensor looks like. I know it's a little tight underneath, so it was hard for me to get a shot of the top, but this is what that top looks like, and this was what I was referring to when you need a 90 or a hook pick, because you have to lift that tab up over that little spot, and that electrical connection will come right out. But this is what a new one looks like. I'm going to pull the old one out, and I'll be able to show you a comparison. It may not even be that bad, but with it looking like the O-ring is failing on the old one, definitely necessary for me to replace this. So I put the socket on this, and it was, I mean, I barely had to turn it to get it to break loose. So I do think this is a problem and it needs to be fixed, which I'm glad that I caught it when I did, because I actually wasn't going to do the oil change on this vehicle yet. But when I got under here and I looked at it, because I noticed there was like the smallest little drop on the driveway of oil. So it made me wonder. I was like, well, let's just see what that is. I mean, that could lead to something bigger, but I am glad that I checked this, because I mean, that looks way different than the new one. But we need to change this. There's the old O-ring. I'm gonna take a pic to that and get that off right now. Let me see, where's my pic? Right here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's the old O-ring. It looks like it's seen better days, and I mean, it's hard. It doesn't feel like a soft rubber, so I'm gonna clean up that little hole and then we're gonna put the new one in. There it goes. Just gonna hand thread it in. So they say this part needs to be torqued to 115 inch-pounds, which is a little odd, I know, but it's 115 inch-pounds, or if you convert it, it's like, I believe, like 9.4 something foot-pounds of torque. So you can go 9, and I'm sure it'll be just fine. But I'm gonna get it snug, and then I'll get the torque wrench out and get it where it needs to be. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can rent it from the auto parts store when you get the part or whatever. But yeah, it's 115 inch-pounds. So just make sure if you rent one, you get one that has inch-pounds, or you go ahead and convert it if you only have one with foot-pounds. Now that we got that torque down, it's hard for me to do anything by myself under this car because I don't have a lift or anything, but we got it down to where we need it to, and we just popped the new connection, or our old connection, back in. I'm gonna clean it off just a little bit more because it is still a little bit dirty, but it looks much better under here. All cleaned up, new part in, and now we just got to go up top, put more oil back in it, and then we need to hop in the car and double check that the oil level sensor is actually functioning, because if it does not do that, then we could have an issue. I also want to preface, I've disconnected the negative to the battery, and I do so every time I mess with any kind of electrical stuff. So I'll reconnect that negative before we hop in the car and crank it up and see if it does its measuring properly. So for this truck, it takes 6 quarts of oil. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's just 6 quarts of oil of 5W30. And we're just gonna begin pouring. I got the first little quart first that I used to pre-fill our new oil filter. Knock that out. And then I'm gonna dump the other, all the way down to the ground. I'm gonna dump the other 5 in it next, which of course, same oil. just the 5-quart. So, all right, guys. Like I said, the most important thing we got to pay attention to now that we've finished everything and put the new sensor in is this gauge right here. If it doesn't kind of go up and show pressure like it should, then we have a problem. If it does, then we're good. Looks to me like we are good to go. Back in place. I don't see any issues there. Excellent. Oh, looks like I need some washer fluid. Like I said, guys, it was just a quick little fix I needed to do. I wasn't planning on doing the maintenance, but I needed to do it anyway. So it kind of worked out the way that it did. That little part, it is necessary. So if you do see the same thing happen into yours, that's what you need to fix. If it's got it's a little wet, oily around that spot, it's more than likely that your O-ring has gone out on it. It's not uncommon for these older vehicles, especially if you haven't ever done it. This vehicle, I don't think has ever done that or had that changed. So there's no telling how long it's actually been in there, probably for the life of the vehicle. But, you know, if you got to change it, it's not hard. You just saw how it's done. So, that's it. You got any questions? Leave me, some comments. I try to make sure I respond to everybody. So other than that, I'll catch you in the next one.